Welcome back to Breaking the Chains, Healing from Emotional and Physical Abuse. Donations help my podcast to expand and produce smoothly. Also, you can purchase my merchandise by clicking the link in the description below. I am overwhelmed at the continued support, and I am so grateful for each listener and supporter of my podcast. Again, I am your host, Kelly, and we are starting off with Season 8, Episode 2. The topic of this episode is called Children and Teenagers Witnessing Domestic Violence is a Form of Child Abuse. Children and teenagers witnessing domestic violence in one parent's home is a form of child abuse. It is a form of child abuse for domestic violence will cause the children and teenagers to experience emotional trauma throughout their life. Children and teenagers who are present when a parent is abusive to their spouse or partner, he or she will develop depression, anxiety, PTSD, which means post-traumatic stress disorder, and substance abuse. These issues could last into their childhood, and it will impact every aspect of their life. Also, children and teenagers who are observing domestic violence are at a greater risk of being murdered or physically injured. 5 emotions children and teenagers experience by observing domestic violence. Number 1, terror. Number 2, isolation. Number 3, guilt. Number 4, helplessness. Number 5, grief. Many children and teenagers living in a parent's home with domestic violence occurring also have symptoms of headaches, stomach problems, and other medical conditions. Children and teenagers that are present during domestic violence are innocent bystanders. They are victims too. Statistics have proven that children and teenagers witnessing domestic violence are more likely than their peers to have a wide range of difficulties from anger and oppositional behavior to fear, low self-esteem, and withdrawal to social relationships. The psychological aftermath present of children and teenagers' exposures during domestic violence will include fear of harm, excessive worry or sadness, guilt, emotional distance, poor judgment, and they will experience fear about his or her future. It is very important the stable parent must reassure your children or teenagers that they are an innocent bystander. Also, you must instill into your children or teenagers that domestic violence is not their fault. Therefore, the stable parent must reassure your children or teenagers that it is safe to discuss their feelings in a safe environment without any judgment. Many court systems do not interfere when children and teenagers are witnessing domestic violence. Unfortunately, many court systems in the United States are forcing many children and teenagers to live in a harmful environment. The court system's top priority should be the safety of children and teenagers. Sadly, too many innocent children and teenagers are present during domestic violence. Our court systems
Okay, I found this on the web for our court systems. Check it out.
in the United States, let me restate that. Our court systems in the United States should protect children and teenagers from being present during domestic violence. Our children and teenagers deserve to live in a home where he or she feels safe all the time. I'm going to restate that. Children and teenagers let me restate the whole thing. Our court systems in the United States should protect children and teenagers from being present during domestic violence, and children and teenagers deserve to live in a home where he or she feels safe all the time. To all the stable parents, continue to fight and protect your children or teenagers from being exposed to domestic violence. Now I'm going to discuss a new topic, which is my new topic is children and teenagers blame themselves for their parents' divorce. Excuse me, I need a drink. Again, the name of this new topic is called Children and Teenagers Blame Themselves for Their Parents' Divorce. It's natural that children and teenagers blame themselves for their parents' divorce due to a few factors, including egocentric thinking, and he or she has difficulty understanding adult relationships. Egocentric thinking is when children and teenagers view the world and events from their own perspective. Also, egocentric thinking is when the child or teenager believes he or she behaved better, it could have prevented their parents from getting divorced. Children and teenagers do not fully comprehend the complexities of adult relationships and the reasons why their parents got divorced. Children and teenagers feel a personal rejection to their parents' divorce, and it leads to him or her feeling they are not good enough. Children and teenagers blame themselves for their parents' divorce because he or she feels it is their fault. It is very common for children and teenagers to feel at fault for their parents' divorce, for he or she thinks they did something horrific to cause it. So, here's 9 effects divorce has on children and teenagers. And as I state the 9 effects that divorce has on children and teenagers, as I state each effect, I'm going to go into detail. So the 9 effects divorce has on children and teenagers. Number 1, poor performance in academics. Children and teenagers experiencing their parents' divorce makes them become confused and distracted. Therefore, they cannot focus on their schoolwork. Number 2, no interest in social activity. Children and teenagers feel insecure because of their parents' divorce, and they have a difficult time relating to others. Number 3, difficulty adapting to change. During their parents' divorce, the family dynamic is very different to children and teenagers. There are many changes in the living situation for children and teenagers experiencing divorce, and it affects them. Number 4, emotionally sensitive. Children and teenagers have Children and teenagers have several emotions during their parents' divorce, such as feelings of loss, confusion, anger, and anxiety, along with other emotions. 5, feelings of anger. Children and teenagers are very overwhelmed during their parents' divorce, so he or she may be angry at times. 6, feeling guilty. It is very common for children and teenagers to blame themselves for their parents' divorce, for he or she does not comprehend why their parents are getting a divorce. Number 7, leads to destructive behavior. Children and teenagers experiencing their parents' divorce can lead to destructive behaviors, including drugs, alcohol, and prescription drugs. 8, health problems increase. Children and teenagers processing their parents' divorce is very stressful on them. The stress will lead to health problems. Also, mental health illnesses can increase, including anxiety and depression. I'm going to restate that. Also, mental health issues or illnesses can increase, including anxiety and depression. Number 9, no longer has faith in marriage and the family unit. Research has proven children and teenagers that experience their parents' divorce have a greater chance of getting divorced as adults, for they no longer believe in the family unit. How can parents reassure your children and teenagers the divorce is not their fault? As parents of divorce, you must be honest with your children and teenagers about the divorce when your children are older. You can explain to him or her about the reason the divorce happened. The divorce could be a result of your husband or wife being addicted to drugs or alcohol, or committed adultery, physical or emotional abuse. After you explain to your children and teenager the reasoning for the divorce, you must reassure him or her that you love them unconditionally. Also, as parents of divorce, let your children and teenagers express their feelings to you without any judgment. Therefore, parents of divorce, keep your emotions and actions stable for your children and teenagers. When parents of divorce maintain our actions and emotions, this will prove to your children and teenagers that you are a safe haven during and after a crisis. I'm going to restate that. When parents of divorce maintain your actions and emotions, this will prove to your children and teenagers that you are a safe haven during and after a crisis. All of these methods will reassure your children and teenagers their parents' divorce is not their fault. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Donations help my podcast to expand and produce smoothly, and I am very grateful for each listener and each supporter of my podcast. Have an excellent day.